Okay, 6:42 p.m. and it is September 24th or the 25th, whatever. I'm losing track. Doesn't matter. It's a Wednesday evening, and I just finished doing some housework, and pretty soon I'll be heading to bed because my life is boring. But anyway, so I was thinking about sins and the excuse of religious people or so-called religious people. First I'd like to say there's a big difference between having a true relationship with God and then people who are religious. Religion is man-made, okay? I hate to break people's little bubbles or whatever, but it is man-made. Most people identify with a religion that was created by a man, and it's based loosely on what was translated through the Bible. But the reason why there's so many different denominations is because there has been so much debate about what was acceptable, what people can feel like they can live, or what they didn't like some of the restrictions, so they would try to change it and modify it so it could appeal to them. So there's a lot of loopholes and people making things up as they go along. So that's why you have so many different Christian denominations. One of the biggest loopholes that people look for in religion is, for example, it used to be looked down upon no matter what. Like once you got married, you had to be married, blah, 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 blah. And some people, they realized that they weren't happy in their marriage, and if their spouse remained faithful, they felt obligated to be married to them. And if they did get divorced and it wasn't based on scriptural reasoning, such as adultery, then they had no scriptural reason to divorce them, but they would try to find loopholes. And if they did get divorced, they'd find someone else and they'd want to get remarried. So they would try to find some reason or some way that they can get remarried to please themselves. And so they would change, and create a different denomination, not just marriage or sex. A lot of times they would do it because there was doctrinal issues. Like, for example, some people debate as to whether or not, God and Jesus should be looked upon as equals or whatever. There's so many different denominations within the Christian faith, okay? I know that, when I was working over at the Fullerton Park place, I know that the lady, she was Catholic. I know that there was, and I know that my brother-in-law used to be Catholic, and he bashed Catholics every chance he got. But it's funny how they'll use people, in their little game of propaganda when they feel like they have a common enemy, which I think is pretty funny. I was thinking about the issue of sinners, because oftentimes, when people feel desperate, like when they grab springs for straws, they want to throw out this whole issue of religion and try to point the finger and say, oh, this person's doing wrong, but look at me, I'm doing right. And we know it from the Bible, the pointing the finger, casting blame and pointing out the faults of other people, when everyone knows good and well that everyone is guilty of their own faults. Okay, I remember there was this girl many years ago. I used to work with her, and she was sitting there talking about how all this stuff was a sin, right? Talking about how she didn't believe that, certain people should be married because it's a sin. She didn't like the idea of people being interracially married or whatever. And really, I don't see anything scriptural that says that. I have never seen anything scriptural that says that. I know that in the Bible, it talks about people taking wives from different lands. But oftentimes the reason why it was an issue that they took wives from different lands was not because they were just from a different land. It's because they had a different God, a different way of worshiping. And that was the issue. There's examples in the Bible where people have married people from different lands, and they actually started following their God, and it was considered to be acceptable. So, I don't know. But whatever the case is, she was going on and on about what was the sin, blah, blah, blah. And, I mentioned before about my mother being overweight, and I don't have anything against. I understand the issue of how easy it is to get yourself in that situation. So I do understand, okay? But as she was going on and on and on and on about it, I just looked at her and I said, you know what? So is gluttony. Gluttony is a sin, right? It is a sin. It talks about it in the Bible. Yet you see so many people who are in this Christian denomination, and a lot of them are feeding their faces at places like all-you-can-eat buffets or whatever, but they want to point the finger and act like, and oftentimes it's a way of trying to divert the attention away from what they're doing is wrong. And really, I don't even think most people have an idea as to what is a sin and what isn't a sin. I know in my targeting in the past 2 years, I've dealt with people who I felt were persecuting me, who were boyfriend and girlfriend, but they were living together. There was also a homosexual person who was looking down on me. And I'm not bashing homosexuals by any means. I'm just saying it's like, what, define your sin. What are you talking about? This is how this issue blinds people. And it doesn't matter who comes under the umbrella of this Christian war that my ex-brother-in-law has raged against me. He's going to use and manipulate whoever he can find to win his point. Like I'm saying, this man is into his extreme sports, okay? I'm not the kind of person that walks around thinking that, or looking down on people. I have never looked down on anybody. I will say, if you got in my way, I would put you in your place, and rightfully so. And oftentimes when people are angry and they're agitated and they're pissed off at you anyway because they're being influenced by other people, when you stand up for yourself, then they look at that as like, oh, she just smited me, but you were asking for it. I only give people when they're asking for it. When they're asking for it, I will show no mercy to you. I will not show any mercy to you. I will slay you with my tongue. Since I can't literally slay you, I will slay you with my tongue, and that's pretty darn good. So, I know that, I've made this clear about, I have no interest in changing my religion. I don't, it's unfortunate that, there's so many idiotic people who are so blind and so naive and have never really cracked open a Bible themselves, but they like that sense of belonging, that sense of belonging, feeling that they're part of a purpose, and then also getting certain perks and benefits in the employment sector, which obviously, you're not supposed to discriminate against religion. You're not supposed to gain any special favors because of religion. Religion in the workplace, and this goes for politics as well, it only causes division in the workplace, okay? And that to me, that right there is a form of genocide right there, because it creates, people to be excluded. And when you exclude other people based on their life path, okay, like some people, for example, are Republicans, okay? And they might talk to me. I've known a lot of Republicans who are very proud about being Republican, and God knows why they would bring up their political affiliation to a black woman, but they feel this need to tell me that they're Republican. And I just usually say, oh, okay, whatever, because I don't get involved in that stuff. I really don't. But some people will find that threatening, because most people look at Republicans as people who are opposed to minorities. So some people could take offense to that. I don't. It goes in one ear and out the other to me, because I don't want to hear political bibble babble. It doesn't matter to me, right? But still, when you're dealing with things that are going to be that's going to cause arguments, friction, any sort of tension, I can't even understand why somebody would want to bring that into the workplace. But I understand the mentality of people like, my ex-brother-in-law. See, I never knew that he was that warped. I really never knew that. I think of it now and think, my gosh, you are a twisted individual. To initiate a gang stalking, to put somebody's house under surveillance, to allow other people in on, certain things that are going on in the privacy of my own home. This man had absolutely no regard for who I was as a person whatsoever. Okay, he is the lowest of the low. And then if he was sitting here, one of the people that were pressuring or trying to prevent me from seeing Stephen, because Stephen has mental disability, let me tell you something. My dad thought something was really off with that man. I didn't know very much when I was younger. I never thought very much of it. I just knew that my sister felt like she was in love with him, and that was it, But, my dad never liked him, And I think he was very upset when he found out that my brother-in-law was interested in marrying my sister. My dad's the kind of person, once he was in the house, just like me, once he gets in the house, he's settled, he ain't going nowhere. But I remember when they mentioned they were getting married, my dad suddenly wanted to get out of the house and get some snacks. And I visualize him now probably just sitting in the parking lot, banging the what do you call it, the dashboard, banging his head against it, his fist, everything else, thinking, oh, God, no, God, no. But like when you see people who want to be together, the more you try to prevent them from being together, the closer they're going to get together. So my dad just kind of kept his mouth shut. You know, Jim's a braggart. He likes to, if you got something, he always wanted to sit there and talk about what he's got that's 10 times better. If you got a recipe, he's got one that's 10 times better. He's always been that kind of person. Okay? But when I look at this issue, this is the lowest you could ever go, is to do something like this. To literally go in to satisfy his ego, to destroy someone's life just so he could feel, you know, a sense of power. You know, I don't have any respect for that. And, you know, I don't have any respect for any of my family members at this point. But I just think about, you know, I don't want to hear people telling me about their religion. Okay? I don't want people telling me or trying to look down on me because I want to take care of myself. You know what I mean? Yeah, gluttony is a sin in the Bible, okay? But like I said, you see so many of these people, and look, I'm not bashing people who are overweight. I understand the struggle. I do understand it. Like I said, life is hard, okay? I mean, some people, you know, drown their sorrows in alcohol. Some people do it with food. Some women are compulsive, you know, gamblers, and men too. Some men gamble like crazy. They just cannot stop gambling. People have strange vices, all kinds of vices, some stranger than others, you know, and I understand that, okay? But we're talking about how dare you point the finger. Now, my sister Lisa, she's very overweight, at least the last time I saw her, right? I know she got the gastric bypass surgery, and the very thing that she was sitting here persecuting me for, I've seen a picture like that on her Facebook page, okay? Where Lisa was dressed in a nice little clothes, you know, and when she got the gastric bypass surgery, she was wearing nicer clothes. I remember she came to my house a few times, and she looked nice, and I was happy for her. All right? But see, when you deal with people who are jealous and competitive, they will always try to, instead of just coming out and admitting, I'm jealous, you know, they will try to even use religion, like a lot of other people do, in her case. Because my sister Lisa doesn't have a spiritual bone in her body. She just doesn't. All right? And so for her to jump on this Christian bandwagon thing is mind-blowing to me. You know, it's mind-blowing to me. I mean, it really is. So, yeah, you know, I'm just like, God dang. You know, my eyes are so open because, you know, they've always shown me a different face. I knew they weren't like the nicest people in the world. I knew they were crabby. I knew they were, you know, petty kind of. But this to me is like the lowest. And I think the most shocking part was when I found out my sister Tanya, my ex-sister Tanya, you know, she goes for stuff like this. Now, this was a woman who claims to know or have studied sociology. She should have known better than to throw issues like this out in the public center. All right? And this is my point. It's like, you know, you get these people who think they know so much. They want to sit here and point the finger and call you this and call you that and try to make you feel bad. You can't make me feel bad about myself. You can't. Okay? You can't. Not in this situation. Okay? There's certain things I'm not proud of, I will say. But in this situation, you can't make me feel bad about shit. You know? You can't. I think you guys are evil. I think you are the epitome of demonic. Yeah, I know my sister Tanya had mental issues when I was growing up. She's always been, you know, had paranoia issues, okay? And she seems very weak. You know, she's the kind of person, she doesn't know how to make up her mind. She doesn't know how to stand out and assert herself. But she really doesn't have a clear personality. She doesn't have one. And I never realized that she was so jealous and so competitive, you know. You know, and I never knew her as a Christian person. I mean, I knew she was Christian. I knew that. But I thought she just went to church. She went to Bible study, and I thought she took the religion seriously. Like, she understood that her actions had to reflect things that were Christ-like. I thought she would understand that. But she was just another mask wearer like everyone else, you know. It's very hard to find people who really want to serve God. It really is. That is a very rare thing. Because most people don't even have an understanding of what that means. You know, and I'm not bashing people. I'm not pointing the finger. I understand people live together. People can be gay. People, that sex is going to be on the earth. It's been on the earth. It will always be on the earth. It's going to be here for the rest of, whatever. All right? And I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying is, how dare you point the finger at me when there are scriptures that basically say what you're doing is wrong. Okay? If you're jealous, come out and say you're jealous. Instead of, and I'm not trying to make people jealous. I'm also going to say this. I've seen girls in the past, like, where they want to make people jealous. Why would you want to make somebody jealous? Why would you want to make somebody, if somebody's jealous of you, they will do all kinds of evil things to you, okay? If you have something that you want, like if you, like, for example, you buy a new house or a new car or whatever, there's nothing wrong with having those things. There's nothing wrong with having nice things. There is nothing wrong with having nice things. Absolutely nothing. Okay, and if somebody wants to say, well, she has a nice house, that means she's materialistic. You're saying that because you're jealous, okay? Everybody has the right to obtain their dreams if they want to, okay? But when people try to make other people jealous, you are putting yourself in a situation where do you want to be attacked? You know what I mean? There's a certain amount of humility that people should show. Like if you buy a new house, a new car, or whatever, some people want to park their car right up in the front of the house when they first buy it because they want everyone to see it and whatever, because they're proud of their car. They can't just roll it in the garage right after they get it. They want everyone to see it and everything like that. If you brag about stuff, then I've never bragged about anything. You know what I mean? These people actually come in on their own accord and stir up shit because they have nothing better to do. Because I'm the scapegoat, Anyway, I just wanted to say that, I'm just kind of releasing some tension, just got some thinking, was thinking about some stuff, and, I'm not saying I'm holier than thou, because I'm not. Anybody who says that, and anybody who rolls their eyes and says, and tries to point the finger and say this and this about me, I'm going to tell you right now, you're full of shit. You're full of shit. And your chances are you're probably jealous and you don't want to admit it to yourself, okay? And the reason why you're jealous is because somebody has implanted that in you. Because, I look at myself and I think I'm okay, but I don't think I'm not like, let me see, who do I think is gorgeous? Beyonce. Beyonce's gorgeous, okay? Those kind of people. I don't see that, you know what I mean? But my sisters think that I'm something, so then they spread their evil shit and then everybody else gets jealous. I don't want to deal with that shit. You know what I mean? And I have a right to live my life however I want. I have every single right to. And I will never make any apologies for enjoying the things that I enjoy. And if I enjoy, getting a new pair of shoes every once in a while because I like the color, it makes me happy, then that's what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? Everybody has their ways of dealing with their issues in this piece of shit hellhole that we call earthly plane, this earthly existence, which is garbage, okay? I will tell you right now, this world is garbage, okay? That includes the people in it. Most of the people in it are garbage. They don't have any sense of right or wrong. They don't have any morals. They don't have any characters. Their religion is just something that they make up on the fly. Most people aren't really that worthy of respect. They're just not, and I'm aware of that. I just try to mind my own business and get through life as best as I can. But I'm disappointed, in the behavior of people. I'm disappointed that the workforce has become so infiltrated with Christian hypocrites, and that these people blatantly ignore the basic employment laws, such as the religious preferences, all because they gain some sort of benefit. Okay, but we know who the real sinners are. Let's not kid ourselves. Wrapping up this video. Be back with another one later. Some other time. Not today, but some other time. Take care. Bye-bye.